I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning. Welcome everyone to the October 1st regular Walsh County Commission meeting. Please, let this be a reminder, we are on Zoom, so take turns in speaking. So I will ask for additions to the agenda. Christie?
I just have an update on the Region 3 and 4 County Commissioner Caucus meeting that was held.
Ernie?
I want to talk on Measure 4 a little bit. That's a question from people.
Okay. Christie?
I do have, an update on the delinquent parcels, but there's not much. We can either add it to this one or wait until the next one, whatever you prefer.
When do we have
The third November, or the third,
the second?
the second
The
meeting
second
in November.
meeting?
Yeah.
We can get out
Just
there.
a quick
Yeah.
update.
Okay. Amy?
Just to announce on the state of the region that's coming next week.
What's that?
The state of the region.
And Danny?
Just some discussion on ARPA. We've got to start designating or what we need to do with that money before.
Okay, did you know he was gonna bring that up? If we don't have
Just-
information,
Yeah.
I don't know that we
mean,
can.
We've got to be thinking about it.
Right, but, maybe next time, let her know so she can give us some
Sure.
information and just don't say, let's discuss if we don't have any
I
information.
just wanted to bring everybody's attention that that deadline is coming
Yep.
faster than we.
Yep, okay, I don't have anything. Go to consent agenda, do I have a motion
So move.
to accept the September 17th regular meeting minutes? Denny,
Second.
okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I.
Opposed, nay, motion carried. Okay, and yes, the monthly bills were passed around. Nobody here for employee time. We will go right to Ed. And with the abatement, and then he's gonna talk about primary credit for November.
Good morning.
Morning.
One abatement today for Gary Ferguson, applied for an abatement for the 2023 and 2024 tax years for his residence in the city of Forest River. It's right on the edge of town, as part of his farm plant. He feels that he qualifies for a farm residence exemption as an active farmer. He has submitted an application. We did get together and complete the statement of farm gross income. He does meet all the requirements to qualify for a farm residence exemption. The city of Forest River already approved this abatement application. So I would recommend that the Walsh County Commission approve a motion to change the true and full value of this parcel to just the land value of $690 for the 2023 and 2024 tax years.
Okay, do I have a
I'll make the
motion to?
motion. So moved.
Second.
So did he just forget to apply for it?
He's never applied in the past for
He's
whatever
never
reason.
applied for that house in the past.
Or for his no.
Okay, we'll take the vote then, if there's no, any more discussion? Denny?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried. Okay,
All right, that's all I had on my agenda. I know Christie mentioned moving up this primary residence credit discussion for old homes, so
Yep.
I'll let her.
We'll tackle it together.
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay, so with the primary residence credit, the deadlines for mobile homes is causing a big issue with mobile homes because they're due before the final file is received by the state, or yeah. For the final upload is received. So there's been discussion on there, we have 30 parcels that are mobile homes that have qualified for the primary residency credit. We need direction on how to handle those. Because technically, when the bills went out, we did not know if they qualified or not. They've applied, but we don't get a letter stating that everybody qualified. So I looked this morning, I believe there are 5 parcels that have not been paid yet. Everybody else has paid their taxes, so there's 5 delinquencies. As of October 15th, if they're not paid, the sheriff's office would start the repossession, right? The foreclosure.
Foreclosure process, yeah, the sheriff's sale probably wouldn't be till November sometime.
Okay, yeah, so October 15th, working with the other counties, there's been tons of emails about how to handle this. The tax commission has been involved in it and everything like that. So what kind of the consensus has been that other counties are gonna handle it is that they are going to proceed as is. If you're delinquent, you need to pay by October 15th. The issue with this is there is a transfer date. And I believe it's November 1st is the transfer date. We have to send a file to the tax commission as of November 1st. And November 5th, they will send us back a final list because people can transfer their credits. So the concern that all these counties are, you either don't have these people pay what they're qualified for. In the meantime, they make a sale, they make a transfer, and now that parcel, how do you recoup that money that you've already rebated? The other issue is that we will not receive payment until June for these refunds. So my suggestion is, and it sounds like a lot of the other counties have now decided that this is the way they're gonna handle it, they're gonna handle it as is. The letters that are going out, they are writing in there that, we understand that you have applied for that credit. Taxes are still owed. And then in December, once we get that November 5th file back, then we know then that's for sure that we're gonna get that money. With the election and everything that's going on first part of November, there's no way that we will be able to get any refunds done. We're gonna have to do refunds for all these people. So what my suggestion is that we wait until December, to process the refund. There's 30 of them we'll have to reverse and whatnot. And the other thought with that is that it's the entities that are it's gonna be considered just like an abatement. So at first, Ed and I thought maybe the county was gonna have to. It was only like, I don't remember the dollar amount, it wasn't a ton of money for these 30 parcels, because they only get up to their taxes, not the full 500. But it ends up, it's going to be like an abatement, so all these entities are gonna have negative. We're gonna be pulling money back from all these entities that are in these taxing districts. But the thought process with waiting also until December is that December we start collecting a lot of tax payments. So then it'll be easier for them to absorb that. And then in June, they'll receive another large check. Same with the abatements, the homestead credits and the vet credits.
Will you be notifying the entities then that this is gonna be happening?
Well, we don't with abatements.
Okay.
No, we don't with abatements. I mean, we probably could,
Just wondered. You don't.
yeah, we don't, because then they'll get it in June. Right now, we have probably 10 or 15 entities that are negative based on abatements, and we haven't collected any tax payments to make up for it. So, but that's because it's a slow period of time for tax collection, so that's typical, it sounds like, but I think the biggest issue is, these people qualified the primary residency credit for a real estate home. It's on their statement. So if we qualified and we have a house, it's on their tax statement, $500. We don't have to pay that $500 and get a refund. And that's where the issue is on that, but that's due to the state deadlines with the mobile homes. So I don't know if Ed wants to, it's been a hot topic, cause, I totally understand that these mobile homes, you know, it's unfortunate that they have to pay it and then they're gonna get reimbursed by us. But in the treasurer's auditor's office, I would rather it be consistent and everyone does the exact same, so we aren't, you know, we're not only collecting, you know, yeah, they're on the list right now, these 5 people are on the list right now, that they qualify. Do we have them not pay that, what they qualify for, just pay the difference, let it sit and wait, and then,
You do wanna be consistent.
right, and that's what I'm,
And, I mean, it's a tax break, I mean, they're gonna get it.
right, and they'll get it. So first part of January, we pay it out at entity time with that, plus then with that, it'll be in the same calendar year as the payment that we
Yep.
receive in June.
Yep.
So our books on the countywide won't have a negative, you know what I mean, there won't be any issues there as well.
Madam Chair, is obviously that you're figuring it out for this year, but for future, is there discussion on, like, you're talking about dates and, you know, to make this a smoother process?
While the tax commission has had a ton of calls and issues with it, as of right now, they're not, but
Is it changing century code?
it's legislation.
Right.
Yeah, and they don't even know, like, there were even emails sent out that, legislation, when this passed, they were just talking about the actual residents, not even the land. So then they have the programmers all involved, that if your house taxes was $400 and with the land you qualify for the 500, your land is exempt from that valuation. So it was, I mean, they don't even know what they're doing yet, so it has been, yeah, so then that came back and said that, no, that's not the case, you qualify, so, but, yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So with the timing, these mobile homes are gonna be in the same boat next year. They approved it for the 2 tax years, and there was no wiggle room in that, so my question or issue is, to this point, our office has been sending out the delinquent notices, trying to collect the money from all these mobile homes, regardless if they qualify for the prime residence credit or not. We're down to 5 left. If they choose, you know, and most of them probably only owe $100, let's just say. If they choose not to pay the $100, am I gonna send Lisa Graham out there to be posting mobile homes to try to collect $100, knowing full well that they're gonna get refunded that money? And if they choose not to pay it, are we gonna try to foreclose on these mobile homes over $100? What do we do? Otherwise, you know,
Can we make that decision to just say,
we can.
okay,
So century code requires us to send notice of delinquent tax payment, it does not require us to foreclose on them, so,
However, if we don't foreclose, we end up like we were 6 years ago and had mobile home tax owing from 25 years back. I don't wanna get to that point again.
no, we don't.
So this isn't the timing of this is just awful for mobile.
Yes.
What do you think's the best way to handle that? It's here, I mean, you're gonna have to work with them.
Well, we have been.
Yeah.
But we've been receiving the calls, that
Yep.
people mad that they have to pay their $100 knowing. Yeah, if they qualify for the credit, and we just explained to them that we're gonna,
They're
you know,
using
they'll get
it, they're
refunded,
using it.
however. So we're doing our due diligence to collect every penny we can. However, when push comes to shove, they choose not to pay it. I have a hard time sending Lisa Graham out to post.
Yeah.
And especially when it gets to the point of the sheriff's sale, why would we try to possess a mobile home over $100 when we know they've got a payment coming from the state? Now, people are gonna hear this and probably don't pay that, but we need to have a plan, so.
Madam Chair, I guess I feel this is where common sense comes into play. And if you feel it's best to let them not pay since they have a refund that's coming. I mean, when we're at this point of push come to shove, then I think that's how we should handle it. I don't see any point in sending Lisa out for $100 when we know they're gonna get a refund.
That's common sense for my office, but I don't know about the treasurer's office. If they're, you know, 'cause those delinquent balances are gonna be sitting there accruing, and that's the other question, is they're gonna be sitting there accruing penalty and interest.
Well,
Up
that, and
until-
that's their
Up
choice.
until June of
Right.
next year.
No, nope, so first of all, both principal and interest. So I've talked to all the other counties that are saying the exact same thing. Penalty and interest is gonna accrue until they receive payment. So when we refunded that, we have to have their bills corrected before January first. So at that point, then it will be corrected and penalty and interest would end as of that date. So penalty and interest will just go until then. Now, if they wait to pay and somebody gets $100, they don't pay, they still owe the penalty and interest. That is to the entity. So I don't feel, it doesn't sound like any of the other counties are refunding penalty and interest. It is the date of the payment that they're receiving. And then as far as the, receiving the payment, or the other part of that, I think consistency, and again, if those people want to continue to pay penalty and interest because they know that they're going to be getting that, that's on them. I don't want our office to miss a refund because then we're setting a precedence for next year. Then now we have 30 parcels that why would anyone pay anything? You know, we only have 5 right now that are willing to pay. Why in next year would anybody pay? To me, they need to pay so that their penalty and interest stops, and then they'll get it refunded, first part of January.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
isn't this a decision the state's gotta make? I mean,
Well-
how are we supposed to make this decision?
Well,
It's, or at least get some guidance from
They're not
California.
giving any direction on that that I've learned.
No. They even were asked to send letters to each county requesting them to not follow century code on
Not follow century.
this, October 15th deadline, and they would not do it. So that's where, I mean, the auditors, group has been extremely busy working through all of this. Ed even called one, county, and they were gonna submit it for the next year. They were just holding the payment for 2025, they now can't because we have to send the tax department an updated bill by January 1st, showing that credit was applied.
So Madam Chair,
Yes.
if a person chooses to not pay, obviously, we're gonna charge a penalty and interest, like we should, we have to. When they get their tax credit, will that just be deducted then?
Yeah, so they'll still, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, so either way, it's gonna get,
But they're gonna still owe that penalty and interest that has accrued. Their primary residence will take care of their original bill.
Mhm.
But not
But
the
it won't
penalty.
so then that'll be on your books then to try to collect this penalty and interest?
Yeah, it will.
Oh, that's a pain.
How are you gonna do that?
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that, I thought you could just get it out of the tax credit, but you can't.
Yeah, it would be owed to them. Yeah, I mean, it would be,
But that would be a good deterrent to pay their bill on
Right.
time. I mean, if we're just saying, oh, we'll just let the penalty and interest accrue, and then when they get their primary residence, very big. For all of them not to pay, but if penalty and interest is going to accrue and they're gonna owe that, they'd be wise to just pay it.
Right.
Get the refund, be done with it, than have this outstanding penalty and interest against them, I mean, that.
and as of right now, we don't even, we did get a list, but there can be transfers. We just got a call about a mobile home transfer that happened with Pembina County. So if we have these people not collect, and then they're transferring their credit down the road. As of November 5th, we will know for sure who's getting it. So as of November 5th, I feel like that is a good deadline, then we know, then we wouldn't have to send Lisa out. But yeah, penalty and interest should accrue up until the end, I feel. Because we have 25 other parcels that if they've paid late, they've already paid penalty and interest on those payments. So then are we going back and are we going to reimburse all of that and pull all that penalty and interest from all of those entities?
You can't do that.
But then, you know what I mean? So to me, we have to be consistent, penalty and interest as of the date that payments are made, and then,
I think we take your lead, whatever's gonna be, yes, Ed.
When you reverse those bills though, the penalty and interest is gonna disappear.
But you'll put the date of the payment.
Yeah, but their bill's gonna be reversed to zero.
Well, so I haven't done it yet, but the other counties are saying that they will not be sending penalty and interest back to them. So I don't know how in tax wise, how they do that, if the programmers are figuring that out, but penalty and interest, that was talked about, that they will not be reversing penalty and interest. It'll just be that bill, or that credit will show up as a credit. So I don't know how tax wise has that figured in. I know the programmers are working with the tax commission.
Okay, can we leave this up to you to figure it out then? Do we need a motion to?
Well, it sounds like the other counties are having the commissioners make a motion on how you guys want it handled. If you guys want us to not collect,
I guess we're looking for you to make the motion and we approve it. You tell us what you want the motion to be. I mean, you guys are dealing with it and you know the best way to do it, so,
Give us guidance.
yeah.
personally, in the auditor treasurer's office, I don't feel like these delinquent parcels should have any bearing on how we handle it. The 25 other people paid their bill on time and we're handling them one way, we should be handling them all the exact same way. I don't feel that Lisa, if there are 5 still sitting out there, I don't feel like I don't think as a county we should be sending Lisa out to do anything, because that is not central code required. But I would, for consistency, I would prefer, and for precedence next year, I would very much prefer that we plan that we are going to process them as of after the November 5th date. Reverse the bills and then, penalty and interest continue to accrue until they're paid.
I just don't see how we can make that decision, it's gotta come from the state. If there's gonna be any consistency between any of the 53 counties,
Well, there's not gonna be probably any decision unless century code is changed. And that's not gonna happen then till 20,
regardless.
but we have to do something here. We have to do something here.
I think we've got.
We have to guide
we need
them
guidance
here
from the
now.
state. This is a legal issue that should be,
Well, we're more wondering if we proceed with the delinquent parcels. I think that is our concern for us right now. Yeah,
I understand that part, but I just,
yeah, the tax commission has been, and they will be discussing it again in October as well at the auditor, or at the conference too, association conference too.
You wanna table this?
So we don't have to make a decision today then?
Well,
I'm gonna be submitting my list to Lisa around October 15th, so I need to.
Okay.
So we just need a motion as a county to not, to give Ed the ability to not send Lisa or to state, I mean, I would make a motion that if that's all we need for now, that as a county, we do not send Lisa to the small number of delinquent current properties. And just leave it at that.
until we get the November 5th date.
That have applied for private residence.
Correct, that have applied for primary residence exemption until
The
November 5th.
when we know for sure that because they might not, there could be a transfer in there. Right now, one of these 5 actually ends up not getting that, then at that time, yeah, Lisa would proceed just like any other parcel that doesn't have it, Yeah,
And just leave the other part and see what happens. That's what the most pressing issue is right now, and
I'll second that. Okay, second by Christie. Any more discussion? Hey, hearing none, I'll take the call, roll call. Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Danny?
No.
Amy?
yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried. Okay,
And then
Madam Chairman,
yes,
we have a legislator in the room, I'm just gonna put it out there that if this is something that's gonna be approved again for another 2 years, it would be nice to have the mobile homes be approved for the 20, how would it go? 26, no, 27 and 28 tax years. It's the timing of it that is the problem. Unintended consequences of the years that they approved this bill. if they would have approved, if they would have approved the credit for 24 and 25 real estate and 25 and 26 mobile homes instead, had them offset, there, we wouldn't have this issue at all.
Yep, hindsight.
I know, but I'm just, it sounds like it's gonna be a discussion again in this coming session from what I'm hearing.
That would,
Just-
yeah, that would
just
go in the,
926.
in the tax committee. Okay, yep. Okay, any more? Any more questions or discussion for Ed? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
We'll move along to live meeting break procedures. Were you gonna call Kelly? Does she need to come up?
We sent her the. Let me go in here.
Another statement, you that's a.
Or, here, I'm looking at.
Here's office.
Let's just keep.
The live meeting conversation.
Well, we can proceed, Christie, if you wanna just start with that and. Oh, or do you wanna wait till?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yep,
we can
yep.
go ahead.
So it was brought to my attention, there was a question on, how we handle our live stream meetings. And,
Breaks.
yep, and the breaks, yep, so how I always have done it is I've always muted it until, right before the meeting starts, and then if there's a break that happens, I mute it during the break. And I even have been shutting off the camera during break as well, just so that people don't think that their audio isn't working or whatever. So there was a question concerning that. I've talked to Kelly Cole about it as well. We looked at open meeting laws. And I also sent out an email to all of the auditors, asking how they handled it. Of the 53 counties, I received 9 responses. And the responses that I received, 5 of them said that they do mute and then they do shut off the computer, or off the camera as well during breaks. 2 of them say they do not mute at all. One of them said that and of the 2 that said they don't mute, the one said it was just because she knows she would forget to unmute it. So that was the only reason why she, did not mute it. The other one said that they do not ever take breaks. And the other one said, they do not mute, but during breaks, everyone leaves the room and goes into the hallway. So I, am just curious, I walked into this and I didn't, that's just the way it always has been, so it was, good that it got brought up. And I just need guidance on how you guys want to proceed as a group.
I think, when we mute it. Typically, I try to keep any business that shouldn't be talked about. You guys know my policy on that. Okay, we can't talk about that. Typically, when we take breaks, people are talking about personal stuff and things like that. I don't see a big threat to anything, breaking any open meeting laws or anything like that. So, but Kelly, do you have anything more to say about that?
Thank you. Yes, I don't see any problem with it either. I understand most of the breaks, my understanding, the break time is social, it's more discussions are social related. I would just caution everybody to remember that we cannot talk about any sort of business related things during breaks. And so I don't think there's any need to leave, or I don't see the purpose behind leaving that on during breaks.
Typically, we take a break so people can use the restroom. It's not, we don't take a break to discuss things or discuss people or whatever. And I mean, if we're talking personally to each other, I guess the public can't decide what we're gonna say to each other either. But I don't see anything besides what we've been doing is to mute it. We take a break and mute it and then come back and resume the meeting.
Handle jerky.
So I don't think we need a motion on it. It's just discussion and move on. But just to let, you know, the people who are on Zoom know, things like that, so. Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
thanks, Kelly, thanks. Okay, we will go to Jason next, Highway Department.
Thought it was gonna be an easier day on permits and then we got 3 more over the weekend, so. These are the extras that did not make it into your packet.
Is that the? Yeah.
The first thing I have on the agenda that I sent out to everybody was right of way ordinance. I failed to bring it up with me. We,
I have, no, he can have mine, I've got, he gave me one extra.
oh, put in here,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay. So with the right of way ordinance, speaking with Kelly Cole and me about different things we've had come up over the last couple of years. While I've been here and before, is that there's nothing in our century or in our ordinance that specifically states out what type of penalties can be for being in the right of way. It's been in there by listing it as the century code, but it just wasn't spelled out in verbal terms. So if someone just reading through the list, they're not gonna see that. So from talking to Ernie, we just thought we should update it by spelling that section of the century code out. In your packet, it was on the last page, called injuries to highways from North Dakota. North Dakota Century Code 12-24-01. Injuries to highways state no person may willfully dig up, remove, displace, break, or otherwise injure or destroy any public highway, right of way, or bridge, or any rest area, picnic area, tourist camp, or improvements thereon. Operate in connection with the public highway or any private way laid out by authority of law, or any bridge upon such way without first securing permission from the person or governing body having jurisdiction and control thereof. Furthermore, Dakota Century Code 24-12-05 states any person who violates any provision for this title for which another penalty is not specifically prescribed is guilty of the Class D misdemeanor. So just looking at adding that, spelling it out for people, even what's already there, just to bring a little bit more clarity to the right of way ordinance that we have. From speaking with Kelly, we needed to have 2 readings of this and publish it. Even though, just to make it everything set, so I was just wondering, bringing it up for discussions on bringing that out, so.
I guess when I read the original one and this one, all I wanted was more clarity. So people knew what the consequences were, whatever. I mean, we don't ever really look for anybody or try to do it, but at least it's in here and they know what can happen if they don't follow the right of ways and the injuries to our highways, so. That's basically one of, I guess, clarification was the main thing.
So this is added, it's in there already, we're just.
It's clarifying it.
We're letting
Just bring it
the,
out to words instead
Yeah.
of making
Right.
somebody go into the century code.
right, but there's nothing to approve here. We're just saying we're letting the public know, this is already in
It's a
here. We don't-
clarification.
Yep.
Previously, it was already in there on the second page, the top, where it says North Dakota Century Code 12-01 injuries to highways.
Yeah.
So we've already called it out in our ordinance of what we were looking for, but it wasn't spelled out for clarity. So we were actually, the other ones, we have spots in there where people can go back, so they don't have to go to Century Code to find
Yep.
it. This one wasn't there, so it's just
I see
bring it
that,
in.
Cause when we were going through it, I looked at them, it says injuries on highways, so what does that mean? I
Yeah.
asked it and I went, well, maybe we should clarify it, and
Right.
that's why we came up with this to add it, so it's explains to them.
so
Yeah.
we're adding this to our
Ordinance.
policy or ordinance too.
Yeah.
Just the verbalization of what we've already had underneath our ordinance. Yes, it's not really an addition to the
Yeah, I
ordinance
guess
that
I-
was already there. It's more of a clarity and bringing it out to words so people didn't have to go to Century Code to read it themselves.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Very small, but also, on the last sentence, it says of this tile instead of title, just a grammar.
I'll fix that. Yep.
okay. Any questions?
I'll make a motion, we add this clarification to our ordinance.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, take the vote. Danny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
Christie.
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you. I'll get this published in the paper. Next on my agenda in the packets, we had 2 drainage permit applications. The first one was put in, by Kevin Leonard on behalf of Mark Novak in regards to cleaning out the ditch on County 15, just southwest Lincoln. I have no issues with what they're looking at doing here for cleaning out boulder and getting things back. Yeah.
Did Mark Novak sign this anywhere?
No, it was signed by, Kevin Leonard.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I don't agree with that.
No.
That anybody could come onto my piece of land and sign to put in a request, that should be signed by Mark Noble.
Yep.
Not by Kevin.
what's usually your protocol?
It's never come up before.
You've never had anybody signed by anybody else? Okay.
The applicant usually signs it.
We've had, in the past, we've had where the applicant has forgotten to sign, and then you just haven't, we've made them come in to sign the paperwork before they get their permit. Or we just, we have that on file from them, but we've never had an instance where somebody was sent in by a landowner to create a permit for them.
Do we wanna wait them with this? Or do we wanna approve it? Have it be approved when he signs it?
And
It's up, I don't care, I'm asking.
I think good.
Okay,
I think it's a moot point, I guess, if we don't have a request by the landowner, why are we even looking at it?
in the future, I'll let everybody know so I'll have Mark fill it out and get his permit, and we waiting up and again.
yeah, so the water board will have to.
Yep.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'm just clarifying on this application. This is the one on County Road 15, Township Norton. Cleaning trees out and reshape ditch in black, so I mean,
There's a couple of trees that have grown up inside the right of way. So it's just clearing out a couple of I guess, volunteer trees that have grown out there. What I have heard rumors of is that there's a row of evergreens in that field that he just purchased that will be coming out as well.
yeah.
When those trees come out, it will become more of an issue for snow removal on the county road with the bridges just south of Lincoln.
He's reshaping our county with what he's pulling on us.
We're gonna, be out on that highway a lot more when he takes that shoulder bill out.
Well, do we allow reshaping of a ditch?
The reshaping is just more of the contouring, it's not, it has to keep the same contours and everything, it's just improving what they are, at least they did that way, what Kevin was talking when he's put permit, they're not really changing anything, they're just bringing back the ingredients they have, and basically the reshaping would be the bottom of the flow is. That is what they would be doing.
So they can't go down to clay and stuff.
Right.
it's just another way of them saying,
Exactly, yeah, and he will be watched.
so. Okay, let's move on to the next then, if we're.
The next one is a request from Russell Buster on County 19. He's got some clean outs to do so that their culverts that run through their fields and can actually function as needed. Also looking at putting a new approach in on County 8. They will not need a culvert where the location is that they're putting that. They've already done some clean out there, we've discussed that one, that they did without a permit. And they're gonna be grass seeding that, they've been very open to working with some situations.
I got a call on it and I drove out there and looked at it, just because the guy knew me and he said, Ernie, once you go in there doing very nice work.
Yeah, he doesn't farm this though, does he? Food farm?
Evangelistic farm,
Okay,
that's why I got the call.
yep, and just,
What is a personal trap?
So they have a trap on a culvert, so when the ditch is full, it doesn't full, yeah, it's a one way, so the water stays on their field until the ditch can accommodate their water that comes off their field. But when the ditch is full, it can't flood their field.
It actually holds water back.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
It mainly just helps them out with the big spring rains where it comes
Right.
around, where everything's coming through the ditches, so they can't flood off their fields.
Gotcha, I'd make a motion to approve that.
I think we'll just
Oh, all of them?
approve all of them, okay?
Okay.
Any questions on this one?
No.
Okay,
The next one is from Ed Stolman, it's for, in conjunction with the drain tile permit that they're doing. They will be drain tiling, big section land, and pump will be, it's just outside of the right way on County 15. And all the water will be flowing down 15 towards Warsaw before it gets into the drain system out there. I didn't have any issues with this, and put it in the water board.
Where does it say on this request that it's for drain tiling?
it's a different,
I saved you guys about couple sheets of paper from it. I just gave you the map with it. They didn't say anything with it. It's just that they have to get permission for the drain tile to be done into.
Yeah.
But now, if you're gonna do the drain tile pumps are required to get permission to use the county ditches.
Even after they're installed.
any questions on this one?
Ernie Duchek has one from County 6. There'll be just a clean out to help out. The neighbors have done a clean out, so they do, might be the high spot that's holding up everybody's water. I'm having issues with what they're doing. They're gonna have a contractor looking at starting to work. As soon as possible.
Any questions on that one?
The last one is from Brian Cadillac and Cadillac Farms. I'm looking to have Brian come in and sign it after we've approved it, because his signature didn't get onto it. They're looking at doing cleanups and high spots in the ditch along County 15 and Latona Township. And then repairing so they don't have floodouts. We'll be having discussions with them to make sure that the diking is not to the point where it's going to create issues with the county road.
Okay, so he didn't sign this.
He didn't sign it, so what we do with it, what we've done with these in the past, or we'll sign it. We've had everyone waits for it, I don't sign it till he comes in and signs it, and then it's not approved until he comes in, signs it, and I sign it. That's what we've done in the past. For these, because he never signed the application, so you just have to come in here to sign the application before it's gonna be that, it becomes valid.
The water board approved this.
Yes,
So that's different than the Mark Novak one?
Yes.
Okay. This,
I'll make a motion, we approve the drainage permits and along with the Cadillac Farms that they come in and sign it before that one's approved.
we have a second. Okay, so we have 4 drainage permits here.
yeah.
Correct.
Or
To approve,
Stoltman,
okay,
Duchek.
cause I have 2 Ed Stoltman ones here for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know which one you want me to sign off.
As long as you have one, we won't, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, so we just have the, just a form for approval and one from our Novak, they have to fill in some applications and so.
Okay, any more questions on the drainage permits?
I guess I just like to say, I feel these applications should be signed prior to coming in here for approval. I don't like that we're approving something that is not signed. So I guess that's my opinion, it should be signed.
Yeah,
Nowadays with computers and scanning and everything, it's pretty easy to get a signature in here, it's not like they have to drive down Grafton to get it to you, right?
Yeah, these came in when I was out of the office.
Yeah, so I guess I think in the future, everything should be signed
process completed before it comes to.
prior to approval, yeah.
Okay, do that.
Okay. Christie,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
Amy? Yes. Danny?
Yeah.
Myself, yes, motion carried for the drainage permits.
The next thing I have on the agenda is bridge inspections and conditions. Everyone in their package, they got a map like this. Whereas the color dots, these are only our bridges that are inspected by the state. There's 209 bridges here, and of these, the red dots, there are 53 of them that are listed in poor condition. 109 are in fair condition, and 47 of our 209 inspected bridges are in good condition. What really brought me to concerns with this is I was looking at doing some planning, starting with planning for different repairs and things that our staff could do, and looking at roads and bridges to try and work on a better system for addressing things to see what we can do with them. When I was doing that, I took a look at one of the bridges just south of Fairdale. And was looking at different portions of the inspection report, and the inspection report was bridge cap, so I went and looked at the pictures. The bridge cap south of Fairdale is in the same situation we have west of the National, where it's crushed. Bridge cap here is actually crushed worse than the one outside just west of Nash. But it did not get tonnage posting lowered because it has a steel channel that runs along the bottom of the entire bridge timber. That's the only thing that from docking the weight time you can see as to why that bridge wasn't dropped to 5 pounds as well. So we've already ordered a bridge cap to repair that bridge as well. But it's the same situation we have in Nash where it's concrete with asphalt over the top of it. But the bridge caps are crushed. So with these inspections, it happens more and more, I see it more. I've seen it since I've started. You get a maintenance report, what they get from the state. The maintenance report does not show the same things the inspection reports do. It doesn't show these different things. It's a hit or miss type of thing. So you have to go through the inspection reports to catch everything that you're going, otherwise you're gonna be out there twice. We have too many bridges to be going to the same one twice. Ryan and I have talked about it extensively with Logan, and we know that when we're going onto a bridge, so I've requested the state to get a GRR model, as of this morning. Wade had not received that yet, just to make sure that the repairs we do to this thing, and we didn't do it once and be done with it. Wade has been in discussions with people about the number 9 bridge and different topics. He was out at training inspections all last week in Montana and came back with some different options that he and I are gonna be discussing later in the week. Maybe as soon as this afternoon on a couple of situations. But these bridge inspections that we're getting, we pay for them, we get the inspections, but the maintenance, and I made this comment with the state, at the state road inspections I made moving forward, we're just, you're supposed to be able to go in and run a maintenance report for these, so you can see what you need to fix for bridges. Is not the same, it isn't good enough to do with that information. So, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that I'm bringing it to the state's attention one more time, that we're just, there's a lack of information coming back from these. And they've had the Fairdale Bridge listed as fair.
So who's dropping, Madam Chair,
Yes.
who's dropping the ball, the inspection or the state? The inspection that we're paying for, or the state?
I'd say both of them are, in my opinion.
To me, it's a combination.
Yeah.
I don't know who does, because they do the inspections, they do their pieces, and then it gets to the state, but they can drop the inspections on one, but not drop on the other. It doesn't, to me, there's not a consistency through them. And a lot of it happens when you have different inspectors coming out in the different
Yeah,
pieces.
different people, different eyes.
Yeah, two different companies that work together to do these. And one's like, well, it's not that bad, and one thinks, well, this is pretty horrible. But fact of the matter is, if I wouldn't have gone to look through this and just to try and think of which county road could we be looking at for a project and gone through to look at that one, we wouldn't know what the bridge cap on it is crushed. So I've been going through, and something I've started doing as I'm going through every one of our bridge inspections that the state has done for every one of our bridges, and going through a complete list of the different items that we have issues with, whether it's wing walls, decks, whatever, so that Ryan, Logan and I can sit down and come up with a plan of which ones we can actually attack and which ones we can. It'll also be better for the water board and us for the 39 bridges that, or 36 bridges that we co-own basically, for our cost shares. So that the people know what type of inspection repairs we're gonna have to do levels. Water board is responsible for 60%, so they can start budgeting for these issues as well. So we still have some issues. I still have some issues with the bridge inspections. They're getting the things, they're seeing it, but the information doesn't really get relayed to us. When the inspections are done, they're just done and put in the computer system. We don't get recaps. We have to go and look for them. So
Have you called DOT?
I have a conversation I'll be having with Brandon, who's our LPA, scheduled. I'll be making a phone call to him and talking to him about this again. I made the same recommendations at a DOT meeting, with the other county highway superintendents and state engineers, last year and the year before, that they don't match. And I'll just keep harping on that hill, so we can get some better answers for things, honestly.
And inspections are very vague. And you see, he showed me the two of them, comparison of the two bridges, and I went, my God.
We're paying big money for
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
It's disgusting to go to this.
Very disgusting.
Thank God he caught it. So we can go and fix it if we have to.
When bridge caps are on order, bridge caps are 60 days before we can get them. So,
Madam Chair,
yes,
and we will be without you at Association of Counties, so I think that will be, when we do meet with DOT, important that we're also reiterating, but you know, when I think of the inspections wise, gosh, if they're using computerized systems, why isn't, if they check a box on a bridge cap being down, it couldn't list below, that would be just an automatic, these are things that have been done, or, I mean, that's like you do the work once, but then it's there in their system, and I don't understand, so you have the inspectors, but ultimately what you're getting from the state, I mean, they have to be getting the information from them. And then they just get to decide what I mean, that's so interesting to me that I'm not guessing there's even a discussion.
Yeah.
You know, like, we were there, what would you rate this? It's, here's the information I have, this is what I'm choosing today, which, like you said, when we're paying for these inspections and the costs, trying to be more proactive, I mean, there's only so much we can do.
so have you asked them why we don't get in for any more information?
yes,
Okay, what's their,
they said they get the contractors to be more in touch, and they're not.
hasn't happened?
No. The beginning of the year, they let us know when they were coming, but that was the first part. They did 109 inspections this year, and we knew that they were here when we get phone calls. That's basically when I knew they were coming to do the inspections. We know, in order to find out exactly when they're going, I have to go in and look at the inspection reports and look at the program just to track to see when inspectors are coming for which bridge, when they finally get them assigned to their staff.
You know, it's cost sharing, and yeah, we don't pay, when you look at the overall picture, we don't pay a majority of it. But it's still disgusting. We're paying and the state's paying, and we're getting these kind of results. It's horrible. Somebody should answer to this, or I don't know, does our state have that much money? They don't care what we're getting? And they're just, okay with this, cause like you said, you get two sets of eyes and all of a sudden it's two different views of it. What are we gonna do?
How many companies do this bridge inspection?
For us, there's two different companies that have the contract for this region. I I think Houston is joined up with one or two different engineering firms to do the southeast, and I'm not sure, I can't remember if, broken into 4 quarters, I can't remember if out west if it's done by one single, or if there's multiple firms that are joined up to do those as well. I can't remember on that one. On the terms of bridges, we also had the Olson Bridge hit last week where they ripped the entire guardrail off. And it's the bridge we had just done the entire deck and ripped everything off and put everything back together for it. It was called in to be told to us after the fact. We do not know who did it. We called the sheriff's department and they're out there, but nobody has come forth to say that equipment hit it. We know the time frame that was hit, but it did substantial damage. The guardrail was actually hauled down off down the road, and dumped there. So thankfully it didn't get thrown into the river where we had to go and get pieces out of it, but we had to rebuild the entire guardrail on that bridge. This year, besides that one, on County 9, the 3-ton signs for the bridge that we're gonna be replacing, those signs keep coming missing. So that people can say, well, I didn't know they were or what, I'm not exactly sure, there shouldn't be a reason why those signs have to come down. This year, I think Dean has put up signs on a couple of bridges twice already. I understand equipment's getting bigger, we're stretched out for as far as we can, and we're maxed out for where we can put these signs. But we have to leave these signs alone, it's costing us a lot of money putting these signs back up and down, for these pieces. When the components are still left there, when we have to pull them out of the ditch or pull them out of the river, it's just for the components to do it, it's $300 to $600 per bridge. That we're going to do this. I think we're so far this year for signs that have been basically vandalized. The county has been in for about $30,000. One of the bridges in Golden Township where it's been closed since September of last year, we got a phone call that somebody had taken the barricades down there. But not only did they have to take them down, they threw the 4 barricades into the river. So we had to get a grapple hook and try and pull them back out, where we were able to retrieve 2 of our 4 signs. So now we have to replace 2 of those barricades. I don't know what more we can do for these things. But when somebody goes and takes down a sign or bends them over so the next person can't see them, they're putting the next person's life in jeopardy, as far as I'm concerned. I was talking to one farmer the other day that said he saw a combine go over the bridge. And I said, okay, now let's talk about that combine. That combine weighs more than what the bridge was. And he saw the combine's header take out the signs for the posting. So he took it down with your combine, hit it, but we didn't have any proof that was them, so we really can't go after him for it.
But somebody saw them do it,
Somebody saw him take it.
that's not proof enough.
I don't think so.
So what kind of consequences is in Century Code if this happens? So we need,
We need that. Right now, all you can do is if someone turns it in, you can get a conviction on it, you can get a couple $100, but without actual video of somebody taking it or seeing the name on the combine, which not too many people do that anymore, you don't know it's that farm's combine. And the farmers can tell the guys, stay off the road, and they say, well, that's closer, I'll go this way anyways. So we have that aspect. When you have combines and equipment that are rated heavier in the bridges, and we keep using them, there's a reason why we're gonna have more problems. We got problems the way it is. We can't keep compounding on them by taking equipment that's heavier than our bridge ratings and going across. Taking down road close signs on bridges that shouldn't be used because they're closed for a reason, so that you can get around it because it's inconvenient for you. Someone's gonna get killed, and then what?
Ernie,
I talked to Jason about these roads, the bridges that are closed, there's not much we can do though, on the weight, because they're gonna do it or we can't post it. But I said, since I've been here, we've actually taken the bridge cap off, to me, that's a liability of the county. We can put gravel out there, we can put road close signs and everything else, I says, we've got a sign truck with the postal order in it. And you see those big cement round poles by buildings. I told him, I said, think about it, I said, let's go dig and cement 4 of them and across the road. It sounds expensive, but we're gonna save a hell of a lot of money running out there all the time, and those things will be in the road and cemented. I don't know if they can pull them out with the Bobcat or whatever, but I said, we've gotta do something, this is going back in expense and liability and. So I brought it up, and I don't know what you guys think of it, but I says, I'm totally sick of it. And just the other day, I got a phone call from him again. Called the guy and I picked on him because he was in the area. I said, what are you doing knocking our road signs down? And he laughed, but he didn't know what it was and he knew the timeline and everything else. And I said, it is so disgusting. These guys sit and complain about the roads, they complain about the bridges, but yet they'll sit there and watch their neighbor come to, and if they see it, won't tell us who it is. Now, how much is a bridge bad? How much of an expense is it gonna cost the county to fix that? Cause somebody, and their insurance, they didn't wanna claim it or whatever, and I said, you know, there's some responsibility or honesty in this game and we don't have it anymore. It's getting totally disgusting.
On the same point, we do have a lot of good people out here, that when they see a sign issue, they're calling us and letting us know.
Yep.
So we can do it. This said, Golden Township, we had multiple people call us and say, hey, this is down, which is great. But the thing is they were actually there doing something else inside. And are familiar with the area, knew what's supposed to be. A lot of people don't know, because they're not from the area, and they just are down the road.
Yeah.
So there's not much more we can do about those. But I just wanted to bring it up that we're losing money over something that really don't need to be. So
Okay.
that's that portion. The last item I have for you today is a County Measure 1 publication. It came on your packet at the top, are just some little pieces of information you can go with of when different things happen. But what I was looking at putting into the paper, and on the Facebook page is the statements below discussing how it was the 64th legislative session, how the changes were made to the fundings. Asking for the 10 mils to be put back into the budget for future. And also talking about Measure 4, how that can make things work for us in the future as well. I've spoken with JR and all these are acceptable for us to put on the county Facebook page. So I just wanted to show it to you to get your permissions to put this out on the Facebook. If I get those, I'll put that out today and we'll put an ad out in the paper with this. And also, been looking at putting in the pictures of our bridges, so that same one you have, so they can see our actual conditions of our.
Like a little article, okay?
Article or ad, which.
Well, this is pretty big for an ad, isn't it, Todd?
Letter to the editor.
Hold that. Yeah, I'm sure you know or something, I don't know, but.
I think being or adding that map to it and everything, it probably should be an article. You know, and I stressed the map deal, cause I said, people don't get it, and I said, you look at that map, I was totally shocked when I saw all the different colors and the trouble we're in. When you visualize something, you get it a little easier, and when we sat down and did this, you know, I guess on my number one was hopefully that they get it, that their taxes aren't going up, but yet we've got a major problem in this county on our bridges and our roads.
Yeah, this is great, is it gonna confuse anybody on measures here? I would rather see the 10 mils as one article and then Measure 4 as another. I mean, cause a lot of people don't even Measure 4, Measure 1, they don't even know what for sure what it is. I think making them separate some way.
I had the exact same thoughts. I was reading this and I thought, are you trying to tell us here, you're gonna do 2 different articles or are you putting this all into one? I think putting them together is too confusing. I'd like to see them separate as well. And I'd also like to see it say on that Measure 1 that, this is not additional mills we're looking for, right? I mean, we are not looking for additional mills. We're just looking to replace the mills. They just have to come from a different fund code. And that concerns me that people think that we're coming out for an additional allocation. Well, no, we just wanna take them from a different fund code, really is all we wanna do, but we have to have the public's authority to do that. So I think that to me should be stressed.
Madam Chair,
I think
yes,
that's the last sentence, so this is not an additional mill request.
Right.
And you're asking for yes for measure one, and we're asking for no for measure four, so that is the confusion part. And with having a map that you wanna put in, like, that part of it, I like the idea of an article, and maybe measure four could be in letter to the editor page. I mean, Todd, they can decide how that, but that's then putting our names below that measure four, so it is kind of a.
And then 2 different posts for each.
Yes,
Yep,
I'll split it.
Okay,
on the additions, I had the measure 4 deal. And I guess I agree, maybe separately and stuff. The thing that really got me this week is I'll bet you had 4 or 5 people come up to me. You know, I might vote against measure 4. And I said, what? To see it go through, they wanted to go through.
no, they would vote yes.
Or yes. And I said, well, why would you do that? I said, to me, 4 or 5 of them, they before told me and supported us on those measures and taxes. And he said, all of them said and looked at me and said, I just want to send a message to the legislature. And I said, are you sure? I said, I know what you're saying. You're mad that they didn't do anything with taxes, but I said, think of the effect you're gonna have on your local. And that's what I couldn't stress to them enough. And I said, think about this. I can't tell you how to vote, but I said, really think about it. I said, I get what you're saying. Cause you wanna send the message, was it 10, 12 years ago, they didn't really say anything about taxes and haven't done anything. And I said, you put yes on this, it's gonna affect your local government, city, whatever. So I said, think about it before you actually check the box. I said, it's your responsibility and I know you don't wanna pay taxes, but that's the wrong reason to vote against it because you're mad at them. And I said, hopefully this thing gets awful close, so they get scared and they finally really do something. Cause that's our only hope, but that's what shocked me. And these guys have always voted to support us and now all of a sudden they're telling me they're gonna do that. And I went, well, I should say yes too. I went, wow, you guys, think about it. Think of the effects.
Yes.
And at a recent, I think it was last year, what the county, when there were a few legislators, senators there that explained that these funds, 1 point whatever billion, have to come from somewhere. So is it, when you go register your car, it's going to be now double, triple, the fees in that row. It's gonna come, as our gas tax gonna go up, our sales tax gonna go, like all of it has to be recouped somehow. And I see a lot of people about the legacy fund and how much money North Dakota has. I was talking to, I think, one of the senators, and it really opened my eyes when he said, you know, that is, they say, the rainy day fund. Well, when's the rainy day gonna happen? Well, the future of our state, with the way that our country is and how divided it is, I like the idea of future generations having stability, where we're not now relying, like the rest of the nation may have to. That North Dakota's being conservative and we're being careful for thinking of future generations ahead and setting ourselves up for success that way. So that's how it's changed my view on this legacy fund. I love to say, let's just use it and we'll be fine, but like Jason even said in that article, 7 years and that's it. So then what? Then we're gonna be sitting begging for help.
Yes.
The other thing that was mentioned on this was, do you want to lose your local control? Because we will lose our local control. If people vote yes on measure 4 for the property taxes, our local control is gone. And now the money comes from the state and they have the control. Is that what we want? We have to be careful of where we're trying to get this money from. And we can't get enough money from the state. So yes, we will have to raise taxes or sales tax, or we have to get it somewhere else.
And Madam Chair, there wasn't, oh, I'm sorry.
What scares me when you do that, I brought it up and to me, the outside investors. We got houses for sale, land for sale and everything else, and if they don't have to pay taxes, watch everything go up here. They're gonna come in and invest money, cause I don't have to pay property tax and, there's rich people out there, let's go to North Dakota. And that to me is part of us losing our local control too. If they pay property tax, you're probably still gonna buy some of it, but no, they won't. But when we start playing with the game of not taxing, to me, the property tax issue is not good for the state. I don't think, just because of local control and most of our land stays within our local people or our properties. Now you take that away and look out, it's gonna open it up. So.
And one last thing, Madam Chair, on the, they were discussing how much we would get from the state, there wasn't really a plan. So they were gonna base it off of 2025, and then there was no plan from an inflation, from a discussion of like, well, what happens in 5 years when you still get what you got in 20, there just wasn't a plan for that. So now we're trying to run a budget off of something that was 5 years ago. Well, what was 5 years ago when you look at budget compared to now? That's not a great feeling to think you have to figure that out.
I see the big cities hiring lobbyists to go to Bismarck and push their projects through. And I just think this is gonna be ripe for fraud all the way down the line, when the four big cities have what, 60% of the legislators? How are we gonna compete with? When a big developer in Fargo wants a street and pave and gutter, or curb and gutter put out there, how are we gonna compete with a bridge up by Mac? To get funding, we won't have a chance in hell.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stop the discussion now, I mean, not because I don't wanna talk about it, but because we're half hour behind now, and we're gonna have to move our.
I got a question on that letter. Should we rewrite it and when is, they're going out shortly, aren't they? The ballots?
I just had my ballot in my office now, so I can vote today.
Well, my concern is so we get it in the paper as quick as we can, if we bust this out and everything and get it in there.
Today,
Can I get in today yet?
we don't know,
Well, even enough, it might by sure next week.
Yeah, it'd be really hard to get it in today,
Yeah.
if you put in a letter, you know.
We get it on Facebook today without any
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
And we can get the rest of it into the weekend source and the record as soon as we can.
okay, are we good with that? Okay, then we will, you're finished then,
Yeah, unless
Jason?
you guys have anything else for me, I'm.
I don't think so.
The only thing I would say, being he's not going to the convention, you mentioned and Amy talking to him up there, I will probably sit down with Jason and I can't even think of his name right now.
You have
Wade.
Wade,
Yeah, Wade will be there, but I just wanna make sure we get the points,
You're gonna be there, Ernie?
planning on unless something happens health-wise.
Okay, well, you'll have to give us any kind of
Yep.
info
I'll
that you
sit,
have.
yeah, I'll sit down and talk to him and stuff and talk to Wade and then we'll know where we're going.
Okay, well, we're gonna skip final budget approval, we'll put that at the end, and we have the water.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason, Walsh County Water Resource District with information. Yes, come on in, Daryl.
Good morning.
Morning.
How is everybody today?
Great.
Keep it that way. I hope. In front of you, does everyone have this colorful sheet of paper?
Yep.
Okay, when we're dealing with our, what we call the government drains. There were drains built, back in the 50s, 60s and whatever. These are not like our normal, assessed drains. There was no cost to any landowner, any group of building, if the government just come in and built these drains. Then they turn them over to us as to maintenance and manage it. So then we had to create assessment areas so that we could at least get, maintenance repair money for these drains. And in that process, that of course did cause some ruckus that, well, we've never had to pay for this drain before. No, you're correct. You never had to pay to build them. So in that process, the government set up that we have to have meetings, hearing meetings. And in the very bottom paragraph, you'll see that we have time slots assessed to them, and we just had one, a couple people come in on one drain, 97. And there were some issues with the drain. They just wanted to know what we were gonna do and this and that, so we discussed that for a length of time. And so by century code, we did what we had to do. And the second, third part, or the last part, is to address the county commissioners, and you have, as commissioners, have to approve us assessing these drains, the $4, and then on drain $202. And it's strictly a maintenance part of the budget for these drains. So that's my spiel on that. Any questions as to processes or anything?
Do I have a motion to approve the assessments?
I will so move to approve the assessment.
I'll second. Thank you, Amy. Any discussion or questions on these assessments?
Are the assessments the same as they have been? Did they change at all?
Do we have last year's?
A lot of them have actually gone up, grade 97 went up, I think it was $3.50 maybe before, now it's at $4. 48 has gone up quite a bit too.
Like quite a bit, like double or?
Well, the most we can do is,
Yeah.
the most we can do is $4.
In some cases.
So it's probably double. It was probably 2 and went up to 4.
And maybe some years ago it was 4, and then we lowered it to 2, that has happened.
So if we don't assess, then we don't even bring it in front of you. If we have no assessment, so if and when we assess for maintenance, then we bring it in front of you and or have our hearings. In the past, there have been some commissioners that have sat in our meetings. Like I said, we had 20 minutes, I think, for each one or whatever, we had time frames, and it was presented in the paper and all the due diligence, and we just had people come in on the one drain.
I've been trying to go to a lot of water board meetings, and the thing I've learned is the maintenance, you know, whether a culvert goes bad or you're spraying weeds or whatever, I said it's, and typical with our highway, the costs are going up. So I think, and they, to me, since I've been here, they've been doing a good job, Shelby says all of a sudden it goes down to 2 and then up to 4, and, you know, it's.
We're in the same boats with roads, highways, bridges, culverts, we're in the same boat. $4 sounds like a lot for acre, but some of the drains are 1,000 acres, when you get $4,000, or it just, the culvert costs of putting stuff in, and you're finding out on breaking stuff. We're just having a hard time keeping up, and, will we keep this up or maintain this? We can only have up to 6 years of assessments max in that account per drain. Every drain is completely separatized, completely. No wishy-washy between it as far as accounting. If a drain runs too short, we'll take it from our general fund and put it in there for a short-term IOU. And then as soon as if they get enough money in, then that paid back, because the state accountants or whatever kinda, I don't know how many years ago it was, but they kinda jumped on us for that. And we said it's all documented, I mean, we're not trying to slough around, but it just wasn't a good practice, so.
It's for any budget. Yes, any.
Any of these accounts, you earning interest on any of these accounts with this money sitting around like that?
Yes, it all goes into the drain savings account, and that does earn interest, just that whatever the interest is, for savings accounts. It's 1 point whatever. So that interest then gets all divvied up. you know,
Sure, yeah, according to the drains, but I mean, if this money is sitting in a council place, it should be making some interest on it, yeah.
It is.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, I'll take the vote, for the assessment. Danny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Christie.
Yes.
Ernie.
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Do you wanna say anything about the Red River Basin funding request? Sarah? At all, just that letter?
No, that letter, I just turned that in so that you guys know that the board is not in support of giving money to the Red River Basin. So that way you have it.
Believe it or not, we're not asking for any more.
Okay. If not, thanks for coming up.
Thanks, guys.
And we will adjourn for a few minutes for a bathroom break. And we will start on the final budget approval. Yes,
Yeah, okay. So I don't know how we want to, what's the easiest, so I gave you guys two of these. The sheets.
and they're both the same.
spreadsheets. Nope, one is, the one with the highlight on the right-hand side. That is the one that does not include the $5,518 for Red River Joint Water. And then the other one is including it.
Okay.
So that's the only difference between that. And then I also gave you guys the state worksheet for each of these funds. So if you guys don't mind, I'll just go down the list.
Yep.
We'll use this as a reference, and then this is kind of the backup.
Yep.
Paperwork for each of them, and I'll just go through each one. And I wanna remind, that we're technically what you guys are approving is dollar amounts, not mills. Last year, the minutes had, how many mills each one was getting. This year, we're gonna be doing dollar amounts, because technically that's what you guys are approving is the dollar amount.
So the yellow one, to get it straight, you said it is included, so we're not giving them the 500.
Depending on what you guys end up deciding, I wanted to have, give you guys, an illustration of both, so whichever way you guys have, what you decide, you'll have paperwork for both of them to support it. Yep, so first we'll start with, county general. So county general, that one, when we plugged in, we made some changes in that final budget cut, which dropped our budget down by just a little bit, but it was enough actually to drop it down to 59.28 mils. With the dollar amount being $6,160,000 or $6,160,907 is what the final 2025 budget will be for county general. And then the next one on the list would be capital projects. Capital projects, we have that fund for the HVAC/jail project. And that will have to be notated in the minutes as well as like last year. There was that motion that you guys are going to be assessing the 10 mills or $670,000 for that, on that, so that in the minutes it shows what that is being designated for. But that is $670,000 is what is on the 2025 budget for that one. And then the next one on the list is veteran services. And that services, the final budget for 2025 came in at $91,870. Which with the value of the mill as of right now, and that's not finalized yet. That's at 1.78 mils, that will be. And then county agent, we did drop a little bit on that one as well, during the cuts, so that 2025 budget comes to $148,058. With,
Was she okay with that?
yeah, I believe, yeah, because Amy, you reached out to her during that meeting, right? Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I think with just the, understanding that if an agent was hired, that might have to change.
Yes.
Yeah, we are aware of that.
So then that's the 1.93 mils is what it calculates to. And then the next would be the weed control. Weed control 2025 request was $241,142.40. And the estimated mills for that is 2.73 mils. And then road and bridge, and remember that one's combining farm to market, road and bridge, and county road. And that budget request is $3,313,101.15. And that is, max levy of 30 mils is allowed on that one. And so that is the county mills, totaling 105.72, but you know, I didn't do a total dollar amount. Let me pull that up. I should have added those together. Just 1 second here. Our top line dollar amounts and then that totals. Now, that, taking a second to open up. Okay, so the total for the county is $13,938,343.70. So 13938,343.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
139.
38,343.70. Okay, and then we're ready to move on to the countywide. Countywide, we have the health district. They submitted a budget of $150,000, which will be approximately 2.08 mils. Historical Society submitted a budget of $14,400. And that equates right to the 0.25 mils. Senior citizens they will not be levying this year, they did not submit a budget, so we can skip that one. JDA, they submitted a budget of $337,250, which maxes out at the 4 mils. Water Resource District, they submitted a budget for $275,000, and that puts them at the max of 4 mils as well. Soil Conservation, they submitted a budget of $177,500, and that is equates to the max of 2.5 mils. And then the State Medical Center, that is a 1 mil that is required by Century Code. And then we'll go down to the location specific, that is dependent on your taxing district. The first one, is the joint water, the Red River Joint Water. So that one is the one where you guys, have a letter from the Water Resource District, stating that they are not in support of the Red River Basin request of $5,518. In the past, we would get a request from the Red River Basin as well as the Joint Water District. We would combine them, assess it to that taxing district. So combined, it's $93,448. But if you go without the $5,518, then it is $87,930. The next one would be the Devil's Lake Joint Water. Their request, they just request a dollar amount that they are asking each year. And that this year was $3,080. And there's enough money in the reserve for that account to cover that payment for this year, so we would not have to assess any mills for it this year again. And then the last one that is, specific is the county library. They submitted a budget of $125,000, which, estimated mills would be 2.33 mills.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we had questions on the county library at the last meeting, were those answered?
Yep, so I did find that email and it was a 3% COLA. And they hired an additional staff member at a higher rate was why the increase in the salary, plus it included benefits.
Okay, so my concern is why would we give them more money when they're doing a 3% COLA, when we only did a 2% COLA for our county employees? And I've talked to another commissioner from another county and they said, how do you guys handle this with these? Like the library and other, and appointed, separate boards that are appointed. He said, it's one COLA for the county. They don't get to go out and set their own separate COLAs. So I'm not in favor of giving more money to the library to have them give their employees a bigger COLA than we're giving our own county employees.
Did the health district go by that too?
I don't know that we don't appoint that. Well, it's soil
We
conservation district, we appoint that.
we appoint the health district.
Yeah, we do the health, it's just soil conservation
right.
district. that
That's
we
why I
do
said-
If I remember, I won't speak to what the county did.
I don't know.
I have to go back in it, but I'm thinking it.
Yes,
I would like to look into that. I don't know how other counties handle that. If it's an appointed board, if the commissioners. Well, yeah, if, if there is guidelines say that they're saying, this is the percentage of COLA that up to, or benefits, are you paying 100% of your benefit coverage for these employees or not? To me, it would be something for this year to look into and see going forward, how we handle that. If boards are appointed by you guys and they're paying 100% of employee family plans, plus giving a 3%, it's something to look into to see if there is a way, maybe there isn't, but there's a way to,
because it's different than ours. So,
right, but.
To me, it should be uniform.
Right, is there
Yeah.
a way for it to be
Right.
max what the county allows? There might be some political subdivisions that aren't able to give 75% of the health premiums.
Mhm.
But they can't, that's a max, like we are leading as, the example. So I would very much like to take this year to look into that and get an idea and have
For
a better
next year's
idea
budget.
for next year's budget for as a whole. As well as, we have to look at their reserves as well, these political subdivisions. And what we're getting from them is just a dollar amount what's in the savings. We're not getting, if they're earmarked for certain things, no different than the county funds, We've never asked for a detailed list and I would love to work with them and try to get it so that we have a better understanding of really where everyone's sitting.
and that they understand too that, okay, they're on the same page as the county. You get the same COLA as the county, you have the same insurance.
Mhm.
Denny?
But they're also subsidized by the city of Grafton, what did they do for COLA?
I have no idea.
Top of my head.
Yeah.
Either.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
were they following Grafton's COLA or the county COLA?
I mean, I
Or their
agree with,
Or their own.
Christie that we,
Going forward.
look into it going forward,
The other question we had on their budget was their, how much they have in their
Yeah.
reserves
Yeah,
and what, I mean,
I did reach out to them there was that sheet, but I did check and. Unless we get a listing of everything that's earmarked, is it the next page, Christine, where it was in there?
typically they don't have that much in reserve, that's why it's very, yeah.
Because I know Jill did contact me questioning why they weren't getting 2.5 mil, like which was in their agreement that they had. So,
well, we gave what they asked. for.
Right, and
So,
I explained that,
that's what-
yep, exactly, and I explained that,
Yep.
that they submit a budget for what
Yep.
they're requesting and whatnot, and I didn't hear more, so.
Yep.
I,
Everybody doesn't understand that it's not mills anymore, it's your budget and what
Right.
it's, you know,
yeah.
Fortunate.
exactly.
So what's this 2.5? Oh, excuse me.
I know that, at a library board meeting that I was at previously, I do know that they had quite a few earmarked projects. They were talking about with money, like things that they were gonna be doing it with the building, and I think a water heater or a furnace, or there was some big ticket items. I can certainly reach out to Katrina and ask her for, you know, that, cause she's pretty organized, she probably has it.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
so what's this 2.5 mils? Because on here it says their max levy is 4 mils.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware, Jill questioned that, I guess the county has an agreement with the library that they would give them 2.5 mils. And that was the first I'd ever heard it, I haven't seen that or anything,
But I'm sure they also have a separate mill value,
yeah.
it's not the same.
Right, yeah, I know, I understand
Yeah.
that, but.
Yeah, so she was just questioning why they did not receive 2.5 mils, like the agreement states. And I have not seen that agreement, but.
like an agreement in writing?
Right, yeah,
Don't
yeah,
know that doesn't
From-
sound familiar.
yeah, so I said.
I don't know.
You know, once you submit your budget, I don't know if there was that is what you guys your max allowed on the county would be 2.5 because they're getting from other places.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I haven't seen the agreement, but I did hear back once I explained to her that, you know, we put in what the budget request was.
I think years back, when you, let's say 2.5 mils. Well, we gave 2.5 mils, but I think back then they evaluated their mills at what the county was instead of taking the Granite City out of 52, so they got a little bit more. And then finally Luther and the sharpness figured it out that, you know what, this is what it is, and that's why they don't, when you talk mills, they don't get a full 2.5 from us. Cause of the city, and back then it was Lakota, Grafton, and who else, I don't remember, was in on it, so those numbers fluctuated.
Oh, maybe it was a percentage of the 4.
Yeah, I think
There
it
other
was sort of on the
counties.
way, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, makes sense, so it's probably outdated, but I didn't hear back from Jill at all on that, but, and you know, last year they got 2.02, so it wasn't like they had 2.5 last year either, so that must be outdated, but.
Okay, are you?
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah, okay, so then that means that, countywide. Will be at 119.55 mils. Which is a change of, decrease of 9.22 mils from last year. And that is due to us not having that 10 mils of road and bridge. Being assessed this year. And then depending on your location, your taxing district, the library comes in at 2.33. The joint water, depending on how you guys wanna proceed, will be either 1.04 or 0.96 mils for, the Red River joint water. So that $5,518 will drop that mill by, what?
Didn't we make a motion on that already?
No, you guys have not
Oh,
made a motion yet on that. I think it was needed to be approved at this meeting, how
Okay.
you guys were gonna, go with that. And then the Devils Lake would be at 0. So,
well, we'll have to make that motion before we approve this final budget.
right,
So-
exactly. Yep. So, I think when you guys go through, when you do the motion, it'll be,
Minus.
yep, include or not to include that
Okay,
$5,518. However you guys wanna proceed with that.
Should we make a separate motion just to keep it more clean? Yeah, I think it'd be better. wouldn't it?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion that we don't pay that 5,000, whatever the amount was on that other joint water, Red River Joint Water Board.
or Red River Basin.
Basin,
Yeah,
yes,
Red River
I
Basin.
get mixed up with them too.
Nope, just so that we keep it straight. Okay. So then with that, then the Red River Joint Water. Oh, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Any more discussion on that motion? Otherwise, I'll forget we had a motion.
I'm sorry.
Hearing none, I'll take the roll call. Denny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes,
Myself, yes, motion carried. Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so then that makes that, Red River Joint Water, budget of $87,930, which will be a estimated mill of 0.96 at this time. So with that, I will, that is the only other thing we need to discuss on that is that capital projects, clarify in its own, motion on what you guys are gonna do with that capital projects levy. Last year, the motion was to clarify that the 10 mills that are being levied for the capital projects fund will be designated for either the $5 million HVAC bill for the courthouse or the jail project.
I would make a motion that we continue that as is.
I will second that. And that's for the HVAC, correct?
Correct.
Just to clarify.
We have a little ways to go to the 5 million, so.
I don't know. it's the-
That's not listed, is that? Yeah, that's not listed on here.
Capital project. This one makes it.
Okay, okay,
Yes, that one.
okay, so we put HVAC right in.
Yes.
Okay, any more discussion on that motion? Using the HVAC for the capital project? Hearing none, I'll take the roll. Benny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yeah.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
You get rid of this. You don't see anything.
Right? So before we make a motion to accept all this, I just wanna get this correct in my mind. We are at a total of for 2025, 119.55 mils, and that will be what's that number? Dollar amount?
Decrease, it should be on your highlighted, yeah, that one, so, the 119.
Yeah, I mean, that's the total,
Total, yep, so let me
right?
get that.
so 119.55 mils equals how many dollars, the dollar amount?
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
It's 149,505.70. So $14,959,505.70. And I'm getting that by, I'm taking the 13.9 million for the county, adding the 1 million for the county-wide, combining those two to that. And then it's hard to do the location specific based, because each one is so specific to an area, so.
Basically a $15 million budget.
Okay. Good work. Christie. Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the final budget for 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any more question on the 2025 final budget approval? Okay, hearing none, I will call the roll. Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yep.
Benny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried. Jason,
One question, being the budget for next year is set, is it? Am I safe to assume I can change the position that we have in the 2025 budget to try and make these assistant now, if you have money we haven't had anyone on here? To put that out for filling that position, I just want.
What was in your budget, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I guess it was in your budget, we've been trying how many months to hire.
did you get any,
We haven't got any
Okay,
for
you're just-
part-time,
yeah.
but for the full-time, we haven't put it out there.
Okay.
It wasn't in budget for
Yeah.
it, so I wasn't gonna look for anybody without adding a budget. But it's-
You can, Madam Chair,
yes,
you can still afford that within the 30 mils
Right.
instead of the 40 mils?
Yeah.
I mean, because
That's,
we're only
that's
looking at 30
buildings and
mils.
grounds,
yeah,
Pardon?
that's buildings and grounds,
Oh, buildings and grounds, okay, so you're okay there, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Because of the-
buildings and grounds,
yeah.
not highway.
yeah, if it's in your budget, I don't see why not, we don't need to prove that, we've been looking. We've been looking, so,
Wanna make sure,
Yep.
instead of putting it back out for a part-time.
yep,
For the full-time, see if we can get it.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Okay, well, I think we have some unfinished business. New business here. Christie, you wanna give us, update on the Region 3 caucus meeting?
Yes. So it was a good meeting, I'm just looking at my notes. There were several items that were discussed, I won't go through all those, but I just wanted to mention a couple of the resolutions, we went around the room, and if we had resolutions we wanted brought up. And, the one, there was a few of us counties there asking for this, but it was to ask for state funding for jails. We're all saying that it's gonna be difficult to do this without state funding, so that was a resolution they were going to look at. The other one was the infrastructure, the Bank of North Dakota infrastructure loan that's funded by the state. It used to be, there used to be infrastructure loans out there at a 2% interest rate, and you could go up to $40 million. Within the last few years, I don't know how many, but the last few years, the legislature decided to reduce that amount to 20 million so that they could fund more projects. The problem is 20 million does not go very far if you're doing a large project. So we're requesting that they remove that $20 million cap, increase it on the Bank of North Dakota loans, still at a 2% interest rate, but just increase the cap. I get what they were probably looking at is not always funding the big projects in the big cities, you know, letting these counties get some of that money too. But our counties, when we have big projects, we need more than 20 million, so that was another resolution we came up with. So that was about it. Oh, and then I was just gonna mention, that they kind of considered that our Northeast 9 meeting. They asked if we wanted additional meetings, nobody did, they thought that one was plenty, so I know you had talked to them about it, Ernie. But they thought 1 year was plenty, so.
Okay. Too bad, those meetings are good.
Yeah, and this was a very good meeting, you know, there was a lot of common concerns, a lot of.
Well, and
common
that's why we have these caucus meetings, because that's when the Association of Counties is there to listen. And they'll come with these resolutions, they will come, like Danelle will come to help with funding for jail. I mean, myself and another gal are looking into it, we're running into roadblocks, but you never know, you know, what they can come up with. And also then with the infrastructure loans, if they see something, they will help with a bill. So,
Mhm.
any questions? Yes, Vinny?
Is there any talk about removing the sheriff's department from the general?
Yes, I brought that up actually. It didn't get submitted as a resolution, but, removing like the correctional center,
Mhm.
you mean out of our 60 mils, yep, the 60 mil cap.
Correctional center.
Yeah, the 60 mil caps, and we discussed that at length, that, you know, our hands are tied. And, if we could get the correctional center at least removed, but it didn't get submitted as a resolution. Now,
Well,
I
that
think-
doesn't mean it can't, you know, come, but
Right.
it's best coming from Associated Counties.
Right. So that was discussed. Cell conservation districts were discussed. About several issues that other counties are having as well. With the soil conservation districts, property taxes, one thing that they talked about on the property taxes that was enlightening to me was they said, who pays for property taxes in the state of North Dakota? And they said a third is paid by for-profit businesses, a third residential, a third ag. But they said 82%, and this is what really struck me, 82% of the top 3 highest taxpayers in each county are out-of-state companies. So we would lose all that money.
Wow.
Yep.
We would lose all that, and it's coming from out-of-state companies. Why would we vote?
Who was
to
that
lose
in Walsh County?
Probably not so much Walsh, but I would say it's.
Well, I'm just, you know, saying.
Yeah,
Well,
A large percentage of ag land.
I mean, Marvin is in North Dakota based.
All that land you bought.
yeah.
Marvin is
Marvin.
Minnesota based, so you're just
Yeah,
across the
so,
bridge,
yeah.
but that is a big part, I read that on these, it's on the printouts that they gave
Right.
us too.
Yeah, I
So
brought
that
it
you can
back
talk
for you
to
guys.
people about it, but so
Right.
they understand that this isn't just about each of us individually being bothered by, I mean, if that stuff, if we lose that, how much that's gonna impact everybody. This isn't just about the state trying, it's such a bigger issue than just you and I, you know, dealing with our own property taxes.
We are getting a lot of help from
Out of
outside, out of state interests to pay for our roads, to pay for our
Yeah.
schools, to pay for our fire departments. If we, you know, if we don't vote
Free ride.
correctly, yeah, we're gonna lose
They're gonna come in
that,
and buy it and get a free ride.
right? And why wouldn't people wanna come?
But yet, we don't want these entities coming into North Dakota to buy land either.
Well, land and, you know, that's a little different ballgame,
Yes,
like I
but-
just, Christine Ohm had just posted for South Dakota. They made action to not allow China, for instance, to own
Yeah.
property in their state, you know, I think there's
There's
certain
gonna be a lot of
Yep.
bills coming
things
up.
that are important we do, but when you talk about companies that are paying this, and you go, well, who is that, Marvin? That's not like coming from, you know, a
Didn't
state,
pay it for a long time.
how many states away, that's just
Right.
across the border,
Yep,
so.
Yep.
I just, when I saw that 82%, I was just kind of in shock. to
How
tell
many-
you the truth.
how many of you- I'll call them rich people. Probably grew up here in North Dakota, had a business, and made a great living out of North Dakota, now they moved out of the state, but they wanna buy business and they wanna invest back in North Dakota. Great, if they wanna, and let them.
I think educating is what's most important with this.
Okay, anything more about that, Christine?
That was about it.
Thanks for attending.
Thank you for
Yeah.
attending, yeah.
It was very good.
I was on my way back from the interim meeting, so I couldn't make a. But I just wanna stress, those caucus meetings are important, and I like the idea that they've come to our regions to take care of them. So, okay. Christie, Amy, state of the region.
Yeah, just so everyone, I'm sure you all got a invitation, no? So the state of the
Yes.
region is next Wednesday, October 9th in Minto at the Community Center. Congressman Armstrong will be there will be several legislators there, they're gonna do, it's all really focused on before the legislative session, discussing opportunities, housing, childcare, workforce, legislator panel, so I encourage if you guys are
Is that
able to
coming
come.
Yeah, I got that.
Yep.
I received
They
it.
came the 9th, and it starts at 4 o'clock, 4 to 7 is the plan for timing. I think it'll be a really good,
I think there was an RSVP on there as well.
yeah,
I know I RSVP'd.
I'll take,
that's it.
I'll take a picture of it.
Okay,
There you go. Yeah.
4 PM it starts.
Instead of writing, then I'll lose the note
I don't
then.
know if the RSVP, but make sure you let them know you didn't get one if you, cause you should have.
And maybe it was sent. Mail lady.
Okay, I will then go to. Christie, you have an update, what did we have an update on? Oh, yeah, delinquent parcels.
Yeah, so I did some very quick checking into how other counties are handling those parcels that don't get sold at the auction for foreclosed properties. And, they are, as well as how to recoup that money if the county does go and take the, parcel down. With that, it technically is not the county doesn't own it. It is by default the county's. So any special assessments that get assessed would still get assessed to that parcel, and it wouldn't, once the new owner would then be assessed that, so same with the Adams parcel. What the highway department should be doing now is when we're doing special assessments, we need to put that bill on the parcel. So that when it's sold, the county recoups that money. So the county does not pay taxes on it, and it's just by default, it is not, so, the cities cannot be coming to us expecting us to pay special assessments.
Okay.
It would just get put onto that parcel,
And the people buying it then
it'll just stay on there forever.
will have to know that they owe that.
Right, yeah, they would not be able to redeem that parcel until all of the special assessments and the back taxes are paid. So that is what I, found out, and there was some heated discussion about that as well, and sounded like that was how their, Centric Code.
Yeah, Central.
So are we responsible to clean up these lots?
We are not responsible, to clean them up, but if we do, we would then,
We could assess it,
As-
otherwise the city would have to be responsible to clean them?
or continue the special, however they want to do it, yep, we do not have to tear it down or anything like that. Joni, the former auditor from Towner County, it was interesting to hear how they handle it. They actually have a minimum sale price. If they don't, their auctions are not for the amount of taxes owed. They actually like assess it, and so they have it at a higher dollar amount. So kind of like the true and full, or even more, like, she said nobody would ever come into one of their, auctions and do, have a sale for under $50,000. And that keeps people from buying the parcels that aren't gonna keep it up and, you know, whatnot. And then, so she said that they don't sell a lot of their parcels. Then what happens is the cities decide if they want them, so then they get them for $1 or whatever. And then, the city can do whatever they want, but then if the cities do not want it, the county keeps it then, and it just sits until somebody is willing to put an investment in there. She said that keeps people away from,
But then, yes, they put in a minimum.
then they end up putting in a minimum. I did,
1,000 is pretty steep. but-
yeah.
But if it's assessed, like you said, if it was, it may not be that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's better than 2,000, I
Oh,
mean.
no, but I mean,
Yeah.
what
They
parcel will
decide.
be assessed at the.
Well, she did send me a list of her last year's, and there were some that were 50,000, so there are thousands of dollars, over what is the back taxes on it. I did talk to Kelly and JR about that, because there is no. I talked to another auditor as well, and they don't do it that way, and. Joni said that their state's attorney approved how they're handling it, and, Kelly and JR both said that that's something to look into, but I have a feeling that it's going to change in legislation anyway, I have a feeling that they're not gonna be, we're not gonna be able to foreclose on parcels going forward. So, like I said to Kelly and JR, for now, we'll just let it ride out and see what happens, but today is the last day, to pay just the 2021 taxes, and after that, it'll be the 4 years of taxes. And last Thursday, I think it was last Thursday, we still had like 70 parcels. And so the treasurer's office has been busy, collecting payments now. But I don't know, you know, I didn't work on this last year, so I don't know how many last year at this time there were. But I do know that there are quite a
I
few
think there
parcels.
was only.
No, at the very end.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean, I
Yeah,
think
at the
there
very
was
end.
five maybe or
Yeah.
something, Danny? Remember, there weren't very many.
No, there were
We
not.
had a high amount before too, there was
Oh,
like 50 or
yes, there was
60,
a
and then all of a
lot,
sudden it goes. oof.
Yeah, so now the rush will be, you know, once they start, so they do still come after today's date, they will still come and clean it up, but, anyway, so there are still quite a few parcels that are sitting out there,
So do we have to take the trailer houses back too?
which,
Don't go in there.
for the
And they don't, I mean, do we have to take ownership of these trailer houses if they're delinquent?
Yeah, I don't, well, the
They
other,
seem to be a different animal altogether.
yeah, because it's an actual.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
movable
Not any
structure.
different than before, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't ask about the mobile home piece, how the others, I could look into that
Yeah,
and see.
well, Ed would know, I'm sure.
Yeah,
4 or 5 years ago, we cleaned up some and hauled them away. The highway did.
Yeah, but I mean, if we don't have to. it's-
Yeah.
Right,
yeah, exactly. If, just by default, the county, they belong to the county. Yeah, what is the obligation?
Right.
Yeah, I'll look into that one too.
okay, any more questions on that?
You've been busy.
And then the election on top of it, it's been fun, good.
Have you got your crew lined up for elections?
Yes, yep, almost everybody that worked the primary is coming
Good.
back,
Good.
so they really enjoyed it, it's so cute, I love it, they
We
really.
always get a good crew that wants to come back, so.
Yeah,
Somebody new starts and they are here for a few.
I think it's cause I make them a meal, I feed them,
Oh.
I feed them, so I'm sure it was, I don't remember what I fed them, maybe barbecues, and I think we're doing soups in November, so they'll get
So it
soups
turned
and.
into a social event.
Darn right, yeah, they're here all day long, they're
That's
working,
good.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
so, yeah, cause they can't leave, so instead I, me and a couple of the gals will make some. Couple of crock pots of soup and,
They can't leave?
no, you cannot leave, once you come, you cannot leave until after the polls are closed and all of the ballots are taken care of. Mhm. Yeah, so it makes a very long day,
Yeah.
very long day, so, yeah.
Okay, and then I wanna bring up Denny's thing about the ARPA, if you wanna, bring the info, we can talk about it next month. Next meeting.
Or next
Or
meeting,
next
yeah, yeah, and I haven't looked at this in a while, but yeah, there's maybe like 1.4. But I would hate to, don't quote me on that now, but I will have that ready I'll put it on the agenda and then we can discuss that. And then decide if, kind of what you guys your thoughts are, I know others are maybe hoping to get a little piece of that, so.
Is it set in stone? I mean, if we designated one project, can we move it or?
I don't
That's all
know,
the questions are.
well, we're gonna designate it, it's gonna be designated,
Yeah.
everybody's gonna designate
Yeah,
it.
right, so you don't-
So, I don't know, maybe you wanna
Look at
find that out.
yeah.
Like how general,
Yeah,
capital projects or anything else, what happens if you general? Do it for one and all of a sudden it falls through? What happens to that?
Yeah, then you have to spend it, so, yeah, I'm sure there's some.
And it has to be spent by a certain date.
Yep,
Yeah.
December 31st, 2026.
26.
Yeah, yeah,
It's gotta be designated
Yep.
this,
yeah, by the end of
Yeah,
December,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, any more business before?
Yeah, Karen.
Yep.
I wanna thank Todd for the article that you wrote last week in your whatever article. I don't know if you guys read it about I thought you really explained it well and you supported us and everything else, so thank you, Todd.
What was it about? I don't always read the paper.
Property tax.
It's better to be.
I don't always.
It was about foreign or the one on the mills, the measure one.
Measure one, okay.
Yeah,
And importance of supporting it.
I was supporting it, so I wanted to thank you. I said every once in a while we need that.
Yes, thanks, Doug. Okay, nothing else, we will adjourn the meeting.